Now it's recording in progress. Thank you. It's a Thursday. It's Thursday right now. Okay. Good thing the first one like didn't really matter. So anyway, so I get a folder, right? So the first property or after we do our tour, right? Then I go and then so we pretty much like sit down and then I ask them again. Hey, by the way, Alexandra, like you told me, I mean, Lexi, you mentioned that the only reason that you're actually thinking about renting is because you don't have a down payment. Well, what down payment did you think it was? Right? And then we have a conversation. Well, the reason I'm letting you know is because I actually did a monthly affordability in regards to this property. So this property is $3,500 and you said that that's your monthly budget, correct? So then I show them, by the way, for $3,500, you could actually own a property. And what I do is that I know that it's their first time home buying, so I would put on the thing my first time home buyers guide. And then so if you guys can see on this monthly affordability, it actually tells them if their PITI for a monthly budget of $3,500 with a 3.5% down, they could actually purchase a home that is $552,000. And remember, all of this is like, we're trying to entice them and whatever not. And then this is when they're gonna tell us, oh, but then, I quitted my group dad, whatever. But at least I've already put in the seed and letting them know like, hey, for $3,500, you could actually pay for your mortgage instead of your landlord's.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, for $3,500, you can actually own this home and do whatever you want with it and actually be part of your savings account instead of your, just regular savings, your bank savings account, right? So whether or not they do it right there and then and change, or in about a year, at least they already know. Especially right now, all buyers, they have this notion that all down payments are 20%, which isn't true, right? But see, as you guys can see over here, it actually tells them the home price range depending on the down payment that they do. And this is according to a 30-year loan, a 3.375 interest rate, and the APR, you don't even have to do that. But it tells you from 3.5% down payment to 20% down payment, this is your purchase price that you could actually afford. And so then what I do is then I show them, by the way, with the property that you're looking at, like this one is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with the same 1,500 square feet, I print out listings. Hey, for this property, as you can see, it says 3.5% down payment, you could afford a $552,000. But if you look at the listings I sent you, there's actually one, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's only $500,000, right? So that means your monthly is actually going to be $3,500 less, or it could be at $563 if you have like a 5% down payment, right? So then that's when the whole conversation starts. And then I try to have them get pre-approved by our lender or their lender. Like, why don't we go ahead? So they're gonna start thinking about it and they're gonna be like, well, yeah, that's actually like a really good idea. Like, maybe we should try it. Maybe let's go and, because there's not gonna be any harm. And this is what's great about it. If they talk to a lender and get and they will get their credit run, guess what? You guys can use that. If they decide, oh, you know what, we're not gonna do it, we're just gonna go ahead and do rent instead, right? You can use their FICO scores for the rental. So you don't have to do it again. So it's kind of like a win-win for them, in a way, like they're saving the $35 per person, to not per person, but $35 to run the credit, and they actually have all 3 bureaus. And then you could actually tell the agent like, hey, we have a FICO from all 3 bureaus from an actual mortgage company, right? So it's actually much stronger for them. Even if it's all of them, again, if you guys are saving them $35 each, and that report is good for 30 days. You know what I mean? So then so if there's one rental that they didn't get, then, oh, okay, then you can just keep using that instead of having them keep doing rent spree. So that's part of how I would do it. Let's just say they did it and they said like, you know what, Luisa, we want to wait, blah, 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 in 1 year. Perfect, no worries. We will go ahead and wait. They found a property, they really like it, right? So that one property that they show them, they're interested, they like it. So if they don't want to do the whole mortgage thing, then you guys go into rent spree. Rent spree is free for you guys, for all agents. And it's this, and you just log in. My login's on here because it's on my computer. And then you basically just put in the address. Why not? Oh, geez, Louise. Anyways, okay, I'm not gonna waste my time. But you just put in an address, and what a rent spree does, it sends them a link for them to go ahead and do the application. Okay, again, it's free for you guys, and then you guys don't have to worry about the money. They pay right on the website. Okay, and then once it's done, it gets sent to you. Okay, and then you can review everything on there and then send it to the listing agent. Now there's gonna be some listing agent that's gonna tell you like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and send them the link, and then they can go ahead and do that. I personally would not do that, because then I want to know where my clients is standing at. And plus, I don't want the other agent to have their information, right? Because they have their contact information, they're gonna have their emails. So then the listing agent can be like, hey, I got your application, then you're like nowhere to be found, right? Okay, so I would be like, oh, thank you, but I actually have my own link. I will go ahead and send them, or I'll just say like, oh, I already sent them the application. So once I have it, I'll forward it to you. Okay, so they will charge your client, so let them know that it is $30 per anyone that's 18 and over that's going to be living in that unit. Okay, so you need to disclose that, so they're not like freaking out like, oh, what, I didn't know that, blah, blah, blah. And like just tell them like, yeah, it's like anyone, you know, per the seller or per the landlord, anyone that's 18 over needs to be, the credit needs to be right. Okay, and I'm not sure if you guys know this, but in order to, especially right now, most landlords want at least 700 FICO, right? And income is usually 2.5% of the rent. So if it's 3,500, so you might 3,500 times 2.5% of that, that has to be their annual income. Okay, so like let's say 3,500, let's say 5,000. Yeah, about 5,500. So 5,500 per month is what they need to show as their income in total. So let's say if there's 3 people that's working, it's 5,500 to 6,000 a month, then they're good. Like the clients will be like, the landlord will be like, oh, okay, great. Now let's look at their FICO. Okay, so any questions so far? Am I going fast? Are you guys good?
I do have a quick question. You said the $30 fee, is that for each application? Say they don't get approved for this property, they'll have to reapply for another one and pay $30?
Oh, good question. Yes. So yes and no. So this is where you contact the listing agent. Okay, and you basically say like, hey, Lexi, we actually just sent in an application, and we just read an application about like less than a week ago. Is it okay if I use the same rent spree? And then it's up to the listing agent. They'll say no. If they're mean, they'll say no, and like no, they need to like do another one, which just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, so you can talk to them, and they'll, you know, oh, if it's less than 7 days, yeah, definitely send it over to me. And then you just send it over to them, the application.
Within how close of a time frame? Like let's say the first application was today and the next one would be in 30 days. Do you think you could still ask, hey, would it be okay to still use that same rent spree?
It will. So for rentals, it's usually 14 days. If this is an actual mortgage, like run, then it's 30 days.
Right.
So again, it's up to the agent to like, you just need to let them know and find, if they're okay with it.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what did we go? Okay, so rent speed. So now you guys are gonna go. So you fill in an app. So if for some reason the agent doesn't do rent speed, which I don't see why they wouldn't, but just in case, they're very old school. I've had some agents that they don't know anything about rent speed, and then you just explain to them what rent speed is. Like, hey, it's actually really cool. They'll do everything, all the forms in there, and we don't have to worry about any paperwork or any money, right? Handling. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, as long as it runs like your credit and background check, then they're okay with it. But you just need to explain to them what rent speed is, because some of them, they still don't know what uses it. So, but if they don't, then you have to do old school and you have to fill out this, which is called an LRA, which is an application to rent or screening fee. Okay, and that's what it's called on car. So you fill this out, you have them DocuSign it, right? So you have to do the whole manual thing, put in all the boxes, or you ask your client to print it out, fill it out, and and do the old school way. And then usually, because of you guys are doing it manually, the listing agent will ask you for your driver's license, the current bank statements, 2 months pay stubs, and all that stuff. And then you have to scan it to your computer and then send it off to the listing agent. And then of course you have to ask your client for $30 per person for a cashier's check, which is like such a pain in the butt. Okay, unless of course I usually ask them like, hey, I have a mortgage lender that will do it. Can I do it for them? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so again, it's just always talk to the listing agent so that you guys have that communication. All right, so woohoo! So you guys got the property. They chose your client. So now what are you guys gonna do next? Okay, so what usually happens is that the listing agent will then send you the residential lease, or called the month-to-month rental leasing agreement. If you're the listing agent, this is the form that you are going to send your tenants. Okay, so you send it over to them, and then you just make sure that they agree with everything, right? But you guys should be agreeing with everything anyway, full disclosure from the get-go. Okay, and then with that agreement, don't forget the other forms that's not part of CAR, which is the KW lease addendums and disclosures. And it's actually pretty cool because it's actually on command already, which I will show you guys. And then also these are the addendums. It's called Keller Williams Residential Lease Addendum and the Lease Money Disposition. Okay, this is one form that you don't want to forget, unless again the listing agent, like some agents are like, or property management, they'll be, oh, we don't use that. And that's fine. All you have to do is make sure that you guys email your AMCA or MCA and let them know like, hey, they don't accept this, so that they know, because this is actually part of your forms on command in order for you guys to get paid. Okay, and then these forms are new forms that needs to be included in your lease agreement. So one is called the 2021 Notice to Tenant of COVID-19 Tenant Relief Act, or NTRA-2, and then the receipt for environment hazards, which your tenant is the only one that signs it. Like the seller doesn't have to sign it. Okay, this is just basically telling them that they have received it. So let me show you guys on command. So let me show you. Does everybody know how to do opportunities on command? Kind of. Okay, so you go to your opportunities, right? So I'm gonna pretend. So I'm gonna choose some. So you go to your holding hands. Let me see which contact I can use. And then you create an opportunity. And then I'm gonna say tenant, client, let me see if my mom's on here. Okay, let's use my friend Rachel. So Rachel is gonna lease. Make sure all of your clients are on your contacts. Okay, and then we are estimating, okay, she wants to, so lease will start on the 19th. And then the lease price is $3,500 a month. And let's say the agent is really nice, and it's 2.5%. Oops. I'll say it's 1,065. It won't give me the thing. So Cultivate is active, and now we are doing an application submitted. So you create. Okay, so right here, this is the beginning. So you guys go to your documents. See right here on your left-hand side, you have to choose the checklist. So we are doing residential. And then, bam, all of your documents that's needed are right here. So if you guys ever have questions like, oh my gosh, which documents do I need? Look, there's a lease checklist right here that you could actually print out and make sure you check off. Okay, or you can just stay on your command, and then these, see where it says required? Those are the paperwork that's required. The ones that are optional or conditional, those are like, just in case if you have it, then you have it, then that's great, then just upload it. I suggest upload every document that you guys have, even if you don't have it here. If you don't have it on your list, you go to these 3 dots, and then you add a document, and then you write down the name of the document, right? Let's say, for instance, it's like one of the reports, a termite report, or like a monthly termite report, or a monthly gardener receipt, or something like that like the seller or the landlord gave you. So then put it on here, and then you write down what document it is, whether it's a contract, disclosure, amendment, agreement, whatever. Right, but the more paperwork that you have that they give you, I suggest put it all on command. Okay, so all these forms, you see how like the forms are not underlined? These are found in CAR, but the forms that not underlined, that are underlined, are the forms that's not on CAR, and which is forms that Keller Williams just decided to give you. So what you guys can actually do, so for instance, one of the forms that's new is the receipt for environment hazards, because we don't usually have this on tenants. This is usually done for sale. This is coming from escrow, and escrow usually gives it to you, to your buyers, in regards to like the environment intro for like NHD and all that stuff. So you guys click on it. There you go. You have it, and you save it. You DocuSign it out to your clients. And then now you have the form for command. Okay, same thing with KWABA. So, where is it? Like, where is it? So it's not here, it's probably under close. So lease money disposition, guys. So click on it, and then there you go. So it's already here. So you guys don't even have to like go to save it on your file anymore. It's already here on command. You have it on your hands. So you guys don't even have to look for it anywhere. So it's really cool that they have it for us already. Okay. So, and then as you guys can see, there's under contract, and then there's close. So under contract paperwork are all of these that's needed. Again, only the ones that says required. If you guys don't know what it means, let's say RCJC, you're like, what's that? Oh, it's rent, cap, and just cause addendum. And then it tells you where to find it, CAR, which are zip forms. Okay, and then same thing, close. So once you're done with all the under contract paperwork, then you go to close, and then these are all the these are all the paperwork that you need in order for you to close the property. Okay. It says conditional for CDA, but you guys still need to do your CDA. And then once you get an email from your AMCA or your MCA, I would just go ahead and upload it to your command. Okay, but you just need to make sure that you do your CDA so you guys can get paid. Questions?
So
No,
this,
not yet.
this was after the rent spree and it gets accepted. You're gonna need all this paperwork regardless for a lease,
Yep,
regardless of whether you use car forms or you used rent spree.
yep,
Jesus, those are a lot of forms.
yep,
Jeez.
yep. This is
Leases
actually,
have more paperwork than a sale sometimes.
I know.
this is actually less paperwork now. You guys should see, I actually had to update, I don't think, let me see. So the lease checklist is right here. I don't think I have it. Yeah, see, I used to have like a list of like all the checklists. So we don't even have it anymore because it actually like collects. But if you were like the listing agent, like the lease listing, then you need to fill out like a lot more forms. Actually, as a listing, as a lease listing. Okay, that you need to send out to the tenant to sign. So let's get paid. Let me make sure that you guys know how you guys get paid because it's not the same as for a purchase. So you take in, so for instance, we're using this one, is $3,500 per month. And how you calculate it is you guys get paid for the full year. Unless you guys negotiate to the listing agent, it would usually only, you guys will only usually get paid for the first year. Now, if it says like 2-year term, right, like they need like a minimum of 2 years term, and then they're saying that only 12, the first year you're only gonna get paid, you can negotiate that and say like, hey, I'm getting you a client, a tenant that's gonna stay there for 2 years. Can I get paid for the next 24 months? Okay, so that's like a negotiation that you guys can have to your clients if you want it, or to the listing agent. Okay, so you take the $3,500 per month, you multiply that by the 12 months, so your total commission is $42,000. So let's say the listing agent is really nice, their commission here is 5% on contract, and it's 2.5 for you and 2.5 for the listing agent. So you do the 42,000 times 2.5%, and your commission is $1,050. And but if let's say you're the listing agent and you got both, then your commission is $2,100. Okay, questions on that?
In that case, we would need to like mark the dual representation thing on the lease agreement, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, ma'am, like the AD too, yeah. But is that actually gonna be part of the lease listing anyway, because they're gonna be sending you. Okay, so lease money disposition. So after you guys get all the paperwork done, do not forget to fill out your lease money disposition. So this is how it works. Lease money disposition is basically showing the landlord and the landlord's agent and your client that you're basically just gonna get paid like right there and then, right? So your client will prepare 3 checks or cashier's checks, either cashier's check or money order. Okay, 1 check is gonna be payable to the landlord. 1 check is gonna be payable to the listing agent's brokerage, and then the other check is gonna be payable to you or Keller Williams brokerage. Okay, so this is how you guys calculate it. On the page 2, this is page 2 on top of your lease agreement, there's a breakdown. See where it says move-in cost receipt? Okay, so there's a breakdown of the rent and the security deposit, and if there's a pet deposit or a pet rent, then you guys all calculate all that. Can you guys see my writing? It's kind of like blurry, huh? And that's awesome. I think I did it, and that's color copy too.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when the tenant only has to cut 1 check and then the listing agent's brokerage distributes it, it's still put in like this, but they just send it out?
No, so if that,
Because that's what happened to me.
yeah, so if that happens, then again, you have to let MCA or your MCA know. And then on your commission, you're gonna write down the brokerage's name and the listing agent's name and email address, because then that's when they know like either Jossie or your, whoever your MCA or AMCA know who to contact for your commission.
Okay.
So this part, your lease money disposition actually alleviates all that. Cause then that means like you're getting paid right then and you can get paid like that same day. Like you're just gonna go to Jossie or to Alejandra and you're like, here's the check for my lease, like perfect. We're gonna do it and you can get in like a few minutes.
Okay, perfect. And then if you're the listing agent and you wanna make it easier on the client and only do one cashier's check, is that allowed through Keller Williams?
Yeah, if you're the listing agent and the buyers and the tenant,
Yeah.
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 Well,
But
you're
if
gonna do
just
two.
only doing the listing agent, but someone else comes in with a tenant,
it's gonna be the same. You're gonna do 3 checks.
you have to.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because again, it all alleviates the whole like contacting and then they have to send it out.
Okay.
So then you just give it to the broker, to the agent.
Yeah, my listings have just been, my tenants have just done both things. I can't speak today.
It's
They've
okay.
both done both things, so
Yeah.
I was just wondering what the normal.
Yeah, so normal is you have them write down 3 checks.
Okay.
And then once you guys are moving in, like, here you go, Mr. Buyer's agent, here you go, Mr. Landlord, and here's my check.
Okay, perfect.
So you have all 3.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is how you guys calculate it. See where it says 7,550 is the total amount that your tenant is supposed to give upon move-in, right? So you're gonna take that move-in deposit right here where it says security deposit, you write it down. So I write down usually security deposit plus pet deposit. Then the first month rent, which is 3,550, and that's include the monthly rent plus the pet rent. And then the move-in is 7,550. Then you calculate your commission, right? So let's say if you're the listing agent, then you know how much you're giving the buyer's agent, okay? But if you are not the listing agent, then you ask the listing agent like, hey, how much is your commission? Because I have to put it on my lease money disposition. And they'll be happy to tell you, okay? And then you just calculate it. So you basically calculate your commission 1,065, and then the tenant's broker 1,065. So the total amount, so you guys add the 2 commissions together. So that comes to like 2,031, and then you subtract it from the move-in deposit, from the move-in money. So 7,550, subtract the 2,031, which is both commissions total, and this is the total to $5,400 to the landlord. So that means your tenant will make 3 checks. One 1,065 to the landlord's broker, one 1,065 to your broker, and then 5,400 to the landlord, whatever the landlord's name is. Okay, and then if you guys touch all 3 checks, let's say you didn't get a chance to like come here to the office, I would just suggest to just take a picture of all 3 checks and then email it to your AMCA or MCA. Okay, or if not, if you were just given it, like the landlord, your tenant just gave it to you, then you just need to make a copy of your own check, go to the front, there's a binder that you have to write down that this check is for rental. So any checks that you guys touch, it has to be recorded. Okay? Any questions with that? Did I lose anyone?
Luisa,
Yes.
I would point something out if people are new at this, is if it's prorated, you have to
Oh, yes.
adjust.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so see where it says like rent from, right? So this one is a full month, but yes, you do a proration. So how you do the proration is, hold on, I'm gonna reply to the handbook, but not always, okay. This is the only way we are the listing agents. No, Jessica, I don't get that question. This is the only way when we are the listing agents? What's the only way?
I think she's asking if you only do this form.
Sorry, Luisa, that was for the previous documents you had shown. It was in the past, but it's okay. I figured it out.
Okay.
Not for this particular one. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
Thank you so much. It's
Of
okay.
course.
Thank you.
Just stop me if you guys have any questions. Okay, so yeah, so if you guys prorate it, so how you guys prorate it, so for instance, for this May, it was 31 days and the rent is 34.50. So you do 34.50 divided by 31 days. And then let's say your move-in date is, so 34.50 divided by 31 days. So that means your rent per day is $111.29. I wish we have that thing like where I can show you guys how to do it. I might as well step into my bag. So 111.29 times, let's say they are not moving in till the 15th of May. So that means from so you count from the 15th to the 31st, right? So that's 16 days. So you do $111.29 times 16 days. So their rent is gonna be $1,780.64. And that's what's gonna be right here. It is prorated. And you're gonna write down rent from May 15th to May 31st. And then the amount will be $1,780.64. And then of course, security deposit and then pet deposit and all that shish kebab. So, but the total amount over here will subtract your commissions, both commissions still, and then the total to landlord. Okay, so but your commission will still be calculated from the 34.50. So don't get it confused. Don't calculate your commission from 1780. You're always gonna calculate it the actual rent amount, which is at 34.50. Okay, you guys get it? Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to lose anyone. All right, so then you guys move in. You guys are moving in. You guys are gonna fill out what's called a move-in, move-out inspection, right? So it's kind of like a final walkthrough of everything. And this is, I always tell our agents, like if you are representing the tenants, even if I'm representing my landlord, I'm still at the move-in, move-out inspection. Okay, one, because I want to know what's wrong with the property and what needs to be done. Because remember, your landlord has 3 days to fix everything that's on this move-in, move-out inspection. Okay, the tenant has 5 days within the time that they move in to send this to your landlord if there's anything wrong. Okay, so I usually just be there. Sometimes I tell my landlord like, hey, if you have a handyman, that'll be better because then we can fix it right there and then. Or if your landlord is free, it'll be better because then everyone is on the same page. But this form, if you're representing the tenant, this stays with them until the end of their lease. Okay, because once they move out, you guys are gonna use this form and kind of like, hey, this fridge wasn't repaired when we moved in. It was never repaired. So when we moved in, it was still broken, or it was never broken, right? Or this scratches, or this hole was always been here and it was never been fixed. So this actually, your move-in, move-out, or what they call a memo, will save them for their security deposit. Because then the landlord can't come back and say like, oh, you put in a hole on my wall, right? And you're like, no, it was actually here when we moved in. It was still there, right? It will be best if, like, usually if there's like something big like that, I would take a picture and then I will always add it to the file. Okay, as a listing agent, I add both of them to the file and then I give copies to both the tenant and the landlord. Okay, if you're only representing the tenant, then you do your due diligence and do the same thing, take a picture, and then you send it over to both tenant and the landlord as well. So or the listing agent, so that everyone's on the same page. Okay, and then just remind your tenant that don't lose this paper because this is like your paper for your security deposit. Once you lose this, like, then you don't have a copy. Okay, I mean, you probably have a copy and that's why you guys wanna keep connecting with your clients and say like, oh yeah, no worries, I actually have a copy of it, that a signed copy of it with all of, our inspection. Okay. And so again, how you guys close your file is you make a copy of all of your checks that you touch. Copies of the checks must be logged in at the front desk. It's called the trust log. And then the original check is then given to your MCA or AMCA, and then you get paid, and you get paid on your commission tab. Do you guys all know how to do your commission tab? No. Okay, so you go to your command, which is so awesome because you guys don't have to go to my KW. This is so much easier. So on your commission tab, see over here, it says details, documents, commissions. So commission, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because once I press like submit, it's gonna send to them thinking that I have a lease. So basically, see how it's already like printed out like the lease price and then your total commission, right? So then you just put in your occupancy date. So right here where it says edit, so you edit it, and then they sign the lease. Let's say on the 1st, that now we're gonna occupy it on the 15th, and then you just save changes. And then it tells you like all of this, right? Like how much you're gonna get paid, and if everything is good, unless you have like another agent with you, then you fill this out, okay? And then under units, so every property, even for sale, if you're the only one, then it's 1. Because it's one whole single unit. If you're sharing it with another agent, then your unit will be 0.5 because it's half. Okay, so yours will be 0.5 here, and then theirs will be 0.5 here as well. Okay, and then you press submit. So once you press submit, then I wonder if, okay, so once you press submit, there's another box that will say that you have to fill out that actually goes to the AMCA, okay? And then that's the box that, let's say you're the listing agent, didn't want your lease money disposition, so there's a box notes, or you could even write it here too on the notes, right? Like add notes and put like agent's name and all of that stuff. I wonder if it's gonna mess it up. Okay, let's try it. I'm gonna just tell. So when you press submit, let's just say, you're not gonna trouble. So missing property required for opportunity. Oh, yes, next. Okay, so you have to put in an address, guys. But anyway, so once you submit it, it's gonna give you like another question that basically, are you done with this, right? Because you guys put in the commissions in the beginning so that they know that you have something on the pipeline. Then once you're actually done, then you go back to your commission, and I usually just do it right away. And then you just press yes. Oh, let me see if I could do it. How do I do it? Won't even tell me. Let me see if I can try. But I don't want to mess up they're gonna give me like a check for like something. Okay, let's not try it. Okay, so yeah, just press submit, and then there's gonna be another box that's just basically you're gonna say yes to it, and then you can do like whether if it's escrow or if it's an Opcity deal, right? You write that down on your notes, and then you press submit again. And then that submit is gonna tell, once you press that submit, you're gonna get an email that you have sent in your CDA. Okay, and then that's when your AMCA or MCA will email you and say like, does this look good, whatever, and then that's when they send it off. Okay. And that's it pretty much. Any questions? Do I have any questions on the?
Can we get a copy of that presentation?
Say it again.
Can we get a copy of that presentation, all the lists and forms you went through?
Yes. Yes, you may. It's also recorded too, but yeah, I'll send it over to Andrew and then just email him that you guys were on the lease class, and then he'll just send it over.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you guys have any questions at all? Did I go back? Oh, that was like pretty fast.
Not yet, but I'm sure when I get into a lease, I'll probably have some.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'm always here. You guys can connect with me, call me, text me.
Thank you.
Beat me. It's like beat me. All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Luisa.
You're welcome. Okay, stop share. And